Hi, it's Paul here from selfhelpforlife.com, and today I'm going to talk about the 10 characteristics of high self-esteem and how to develop them. So the purpose of this video really is to help you understand what high self-esteem is, what it looks like and what it feels like, so you can know whether you have high self-esteem or not. However, in reality, self-esteem is more like a continuum from low to high. So you're not really either having low self-esteem or high self-esteem. It's often something in the middle. However, high self-esteem is always better. If you want to be more successful at anything in life, the higher your self-esteem is, the better. And knowing the characteristics of high self-esteem will help you improve it. And in this video, I will give you some tips and strategies to help you do that. So the first characteristic of high self-esteem is that they are leaders. So people with high self-esteem create their own path in life. They make their own choices. They trust their own judgment and their own decisions. They don't feel guilty if someone doesn't agree with something that they are doing or what they want to achieve in life. They refuse to follow and they enjoy carving out their own path in the world. So if you feel that you're more of a follower than a leader, then ask yourself, what do I really want? Begin to establish a clear vision in your mind of what you want in each area of your life. Once you have that vision, you'll start to notice more resources and more opportunities to help you achieve that and turn that vision into reality. So the second characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they have a set of principles and values that they are guided by. So there's like a firm foundation of guiding principles and values that they live by. And some of these values might be honesty, trust, integrity, openness, transparency, providing value to others, maybe above themselves, and those kind of things. And those principles and values provide a roadmap for their life, a roadmap that they live by and make decisions based on. And they also believe and act on those principles and values. And they will defend those principles and values if necessary. So if they feel that something they're doing or something that someone else is doing is conflicting with those, then they will defend those. If they feel that they are being undermined by others, they will do whatever it takes to defend those principles and values. So they have these guiding principles and values that are very much forming the roadmap to their life. So the third characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they set and achieve goals. And if you're not setting and achieving goals yourself yet, then I have a great video which will appear up here that takes you through a step-by-step process to do that. So when they set and achieve goals, those goals are aligned with their principles and values. So that's why their principles and values they've worked out first. They will also set short-term goals and long-term goals. So they'll set a combination of both. And when they're setting goals, they will aim high, but they will be realistic as well. If you set goals that are really not achievable, really too challenging, then you will not achieve them. And if you do that repeatedly, that will take a knock on your self-esteem and it will start to reduce. So make sure that any goals you set are realistic, but also aim high as well, so they're a little bit of a challenge. And people with high self-esteem also know what they want or need, and they will focus on getting it. And they also have a drive to succeed, so an inner drive to succeed. They also live life on their terms. And they create a plan, an action plan. They believe that when you set goals and you create a plan in your life, then you're carving your life in your direction. There's a saying that when you don't create a plan, you become part of someone else's plan. And I've certainly experienced that myself at times in my life where I've not really had clear plans in each area of my life. And of course, if they're setting and achieving goals, that means that they're taking action. So they're taking action consistently that's going to move them towards their goals. And when you're taking action, your self-esteem will start to increase. The more you take action, the more your confidence improves and the more your self-esteem improves as well. Now, people with high self-esteem, they're not lazy. They work harder because they're not bogged down in doubts or complaints. People with low self-esteem often tend to procrastinate, They waste energy thinking about all the work they have to do rather than just getting it done. So people with high self-esteem just tend to get on with the work. They just tend to get it done. They don't procrastinate. They realize that the more they focus on and get things done, the higher their level of self-esteem will be. So the fourth characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they believe in themselves. So they believe that they are valuable, and they believe that other people will enjoy spending time with them. They believe that they are self-worthy. They believe that they are equal to other people, even if their financial and personal success is quite different to someone else. They don't compare themselves with other people, and they focus on their strengths. They make choices, they trust their own judgment, and they don't feel guilty if someone else doesn't agree with the choices or decisions that they make. They don't tend to criticize themselves internally, or not very much, so they won't have very much of that internal negative critical self-talk. Now, if you would like to increase your level of self-belief and get rid of limiting beliefs and replace them with positive empowering beliefs, then I have a video that goes into this in much more detail that will appear up here right now. Now, another great tip is to focus on your strengths. What are your strong points? What are you good at? And then also notice what your weaker points are. Now, with your weaker points, the key here is to start setting goals to address them and improve them. So set small goals to start to improve your weak points, take action, and you'll start to notice them improve. And as you notice your weaker points improving, your level of self-esteem will increase as well. So the fifth characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they are problem solvers. So they know that obstacles will happen. They realize that obstacles are a necessary part of the road to success. But they have the ability to deal with obstacles without focusing on them, or focusing on them as little as possible, just enough to deal with them. They have the ability to solve problems. They enjoy solving problems. They realize that problems are also part of the road to success. They realize that everything is figure-outable. Now, that was a quote from Marie Forleo. I don't know if figure-outable is really a word, but basically it's the idea that whatever happens, you will find a way to figure it out. People with high self-esteem naturally believe that they can do that. They will take calculated risks, and they have an ability to adjust to failure and, if necessary, ask for help. They're also not afraid of rejection. They know that rejection will happen, that that's part of life, so they don't take rejection personally. If you find that you take rejection personally, then that can often mean that you won't take the risks that you need to take to get ahead in life and to become successful. So people with high self-esteem know that. They know that getting rejected is part of the process as well. And they keep focused on their goals. They give any problems just enough time and focus to be able to deal with them and overcome them. So the sixth characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they know how to take care of themselves. So they know how to look after themselves both physically, mentally, emotionally and spiritually. So they're very resilient, very emotionally resilient and emotionally strong as well. And they recognize the role of negative emotions such as anger, guilt and fear, but they will look into the source and the reasons behind them and do things to address those. So they're not afraid of negative emotions, but they will look as to why they're experiencing them and do something about them. They are comfortable looking at themselves in the mirror, and they have a high degree of self-love and huge amounts of self-respect. They also have positive, empowering and energizing self-talk. So I encourage you to energize yourself with positive and encouraging self-talk. Remember that you are what you think, you are what you say to yourself, and your body will respond with more energy, more strength and drive when your thoughts and actions are positive. Now, the seventh characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they are great with people. So they don't try to please everyone, and they don't gossip, and they can also separate the emotion from a message. So when someone's angry with them or upset, they can separate the emotion that that person has from the message that they're trying to communicate. They're also sensitive to other people's feelings and their needs. They can acknowledge compliments. They're fine with accepting and acknowledging compliments. They can ask for help when necessary. So they're not afraid to ask for help. They know when they're struggling with something and there might be someone that can help them better. So they're certainly not afraid to do that. They have effective communication and influencing skills. So when something's important, they can do their best to influence someone to see their point of view. They also have a sense of accountability. They are radiators rather than drainers. So there's kind of two types of people in the world. There's people that radiate energy with what they say and the emotions around that. And then there's people that drain your energy. And I'm sure you can think right now of people that are radiators and people that are drainers. So a tip to help you develop higher self-esteem and get better with people is to surround yourself with people with high self-esteem. So surround yourself with positive and successful people so that you gain some of their energy and motivation. And when you're around people with high self-esteem, you'll become more positive and more good things will start to naturally happen, and you'll feel better about yourself as well. So the eighth characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they are transparent. So they are open, honest, and transparent. They speak the truth and they embrace honesty. And they can do this without any fear of rejection or any intention to harm any other person. And they're also happy to accept blame. So if they've done something wrong, they're happy to own up to that. They're happy to be responsible for that and take any blame for that. They're also happy to own up to their own failings. And they are accountable to what they say they're going to do and what they do. So people with high self-esteem tend to do what they say they're going to do. They're accountable to themselves and to other people. And also they're able to laugh at themselves. Okay, so they're able to see the funny side, they're able to take themselves lightly, they don't take themselves too seriously, and they live with an attitude of humility. So number 9 is that they are flexible. They are comfortable with change and they know when it's time to try a different approach. So they're not set in their ways and they can adapt to new technology and new ways of doing things. So number 10, the last characteristic of people with high self-esteem is that they live in the present. So they know that the past is the past and that they can't change the past. They have a positive view of the future and they have confidence in making that future happen. They don't worry about the future, so they have little anxiety about the future. They answer any what-if questions. So if they notice any negative what-if type scenario questions, they'll answer them and come up with a strategy and a plan to address and resolve whatever those questions are. They understand the difference between the past and the present, and their motto would be something like, "My past doesn't equal the future." So they won't think that their future is dependent on their past. They see the future as something that they can change and influence right now. So a tip here really is to put your past into perspective. Remember that you cannot change it. You can change how you look at your past, you can change the meaning that you give to your past, and you can draw strength from your past as well. So notice the victories, notice the successes, and also notice the obstacles that you overcame in the past. And make good use of the present to prepare you for a successful future. So these were my 10 characteristics of people with high self-esteem, and also with a few tips to help you increase your level of self-esteem. Remember that the higher your level of self-esteem, the more you will achieve in life and the happier you will be as well. So do take some time now to really study some of those characteristics that I talked about in this video and put some plans in place to start applying these to your own life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, please give it a thumbs up, and do leave a comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. And do subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification if you haven't already. And also go and check out my website, that's self-helpforlife.com. On there you will find the written versions to many of these YouTube videos and also a link to my podcast and social media channels as well. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to sharing more great content with you very soon. Bye for now.